I remember there was a little boy and a little girl, and they lived in this village. It was a spectacular village. There were little huts that the families would live in, and they'd gather in the evening and they'd sing songs and they'd share stories. And the stories that would be shared were extraordinarily powerful. It shared the heritage, the ancestry of this people. And on this particular night, there was a story shared by one of the elders. And it was the foundational story for who it is that they are to become. It is a story about a dragon. And just like many dragon stories, this dragon had beautiful wings and had powerful, forceful fire that could breathe. But the element that the elder focused on was a relationship that the dragon had with the people. You see, the people of the time, they didn't have the means, other than the dragon, to start fires. And so they befriended the dragon, and every time a meal was to be prepared, a whistle would go out. It wasn't just any whistle, but it was a special cacophony of sound that resonated through the valley in such a way that the dragon would awaken and would fly and arrive and swoop down through the village, breathing that fire and illuminating the night sky or the morning air, and allowing for the people to enjoy a hearty meal. And it went like this for quite some time. And one day, when the whistle went, the dragon did not appear. Fear rang through the village. And upon discovering that the dragon had passed, they questioned how it is that they would make these wonderful meals. Some tension that came throughout the community was broken by a man who had learned one of the premises of life: making your home more fully in the breathing unity to allow for the expression of a loving guidance to come. For he knew that with tension, the breath was being cut off, sometimes completely, as someone's holding their breath, and sometimes just going to a shallow, fearful breath, creating constriction. And with that physical constriction came mental, emotional, spiritual constriction. And so, this man reminded the community to trust the breath. This breath, when it allows itself to be fully realized, is the flowing breath that comes from Source, the creative force that brought the community into being. And he knew that if in a tense situation they would just stop and make conscious the breath, that the wisdom that they needed would come. And so while the community began to panic and people began to gather their children and look with tense faces and make their breath more shallow, the horn blew once again. And everyone looked to see who was blowing the horn. And it was this man. And he raised his hands. He raised his hands fully open. And he gathered the whole community together, and he reminded them of this principle, that if they would remember during a time like this to be fully present with the breath, that together an answer would arrive for their full expression of life would surface, the very answer they needed in that moment. And so as they began to breathe, the tensions eased. The clutching hands of parents to children began to relax, and the children began to play again. And they sat there and they did the most beautiful, unified community breath. It sounded like this. Nothing could be more relaxing than a good, healthy breath. And after 3 to 4 nice, healthy group breaths, an idea came, and then another, and then another. And pretty soon, they were being inspired. They were being inspired to take action